What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Six Man Tag Podcast. As always, I'm Mike. Joining me today, he is this way. Again, we're on YouTube. Subscribe. He's right here. It's CJ.
What's up, everybody? CJ Doyen, aka Craig Francis. Pleasure to be here with you boys tonight. I'm very excited. We have another new guest on the show, but before we get to that, I'm going to move it on along to our next partner waiting in line, Mr. Skylar Strange.
Hey, it's Skylar Strange, and you're listening to Six Man Tag with Bruce Valanche. What's going on, Bruce? How are you?
Hi, Conrad. How are you?
yeah.
At this point, I think everyone at some point has heard that guy's voice. He does so many podcasts with
Exactly.
just so many. He's got the end, that guy. Maybe that could be us one day. Hopefully, God willing. And joining us, as Craig mentioned, another guest. He has been a referee for over 10 years. You could see him at Northeast Wrestling. You could see him at Chaotic Wrestling, I believe, as well. Welcome to the show, Kevin Quinn.
Well, hello, guys. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And let me get this out of the way. Shout out to Chris D'Antonio for the hookup. Shout out to Dennis, our guest booker, the great Dennis, who has helped us out willingly. We pay him very well.
The almighty
$0. We pay him zero.
Dennis, the great Dennis.
But if we don't at least acknowledge him on the show, he'll just bitch at us. So it's better than paying him, I guess.
We pay him zero. But seriously, thanks.
I appreciate Chris too. He's a good friend, and he speaks highly of you guys.
The first two-time podcast guest, Chris D'Antonio.
Yep.
So, well, first of all, welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I mean, what the heck? Let's get right into it. So, as I mentioned, introducing you, you've been doing this for over a decade. I'm always curious. I feel like I start every time we interview a referee. I start this out. How did you get into becoming a ref? Did you want to be a wrestler and then you fall into being a ref? Did you want to be a ref? Like what's that origin story of getting started?
Well, how it all started was I started going to shows at NECW at the Quincy Armory back in 2008, 2009, maybe before that, actually. I took my son. And we went religiously monthly, and we got to follow the storylines, and it was really fun. And then after going for a few years, I started to know a few people, and the next thing you know, I'm interacting with a few people as a fan, and the next thing you know, I'm having pose downs with one of the wrestlers every month, and so it led to that. And then I'm in the gym one day, and I'm going for a preaching machine, and I literally bump into this guy. I'm like, "Oh, excuse me," and we started talking, and next thing you know, we're just talking. And the kid says, "You like wrestling?" And I said, "Yeah." I go, and next thing you know, he takes me over to the leg room, and the leg room is a wrestling ring. And I walked around in the wrestling ring, and I said, "This is pretty cool." And going to shows, I was going up to Wrestling Star Wars up in Newbury, which is now APW, if you're familiar with them. And I was up there as a fan for a while. I did a little bit of security with them. And long story short, one night they came over to me and said, "Would you like to ref a street fight?" And I said, "Ref a street fight? I have never refed before in my life." I said, "I've been security. I used to be a bouncer. Ref? Like what the? Sure." I had gym pants on, and they threw me a ref shirt, and it was with Big Woody App, who actually has passed away now. And it was him against Joe Moakley. And this is the one part of the match that I will never forget as long as I live. He grabbed a trash can. Big Woody had it up over his head. And he was going to hit Joe Moakley. And what do? Stand in front of him and say, "Whoa, you can't." He says, "Get the F out of the way, Green." And so after that, he hit him with it. And then I'm like, wow, I watch wrestling on TV. And it clicked. So, I reffed that match, and then I started reffing a couple more matches and one place led to another. Then I started getting some other refs, let's just say, got upset with me because I never went to a wrestling school. So hence, remember that guy at the gym that I bumped into with the wrestling ring? I went back to him, and his name is Jason Rumble, and he used to run the Bell Time Club, which Bo Douglas runs now. And I started training there, and I mean, that's just a quick synopsis of how it all happened. And this is the funniest part. I got in, I didn't start till I was 45.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a late bloomer.
You're
It's
like
like-
the Diamond Dallas Page
I-
of refs.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Most people are beat up and limping and barely getting in and out of their car at this age in wrestling, and I'm just starting. So,
Wow.
and I'm 56 now, and I'm starting to feel like those guys that are having trouble getting in the car.
Yeah, yeah. It'll catch up to you, man. Oh
Yeah,
man.
it will.
That's pretty crazy, man. Like so when you started getting into it, did that kind of play into your mind at all? Did you think about that? Like, I'm getting kind of old. Like, do I really want to be starting this? Or did you kind of just like dive in?
Well, a little bit of both. Like, I took a couple of what they call bumps, and I'm 11 years later, I don't like that. And I took a couple of those, and then like got up and I said, well, maybe how about a referee? And Bo Douglas started laughing, and he said, sure. So I started training to be a referee, and I'll give Bo Douglas a lot of credit. Bo Douglas taught me everything that I needed to know, that when I left wrestling school, I was ready to go. And I knew what to do, and I knew how to handle myself in all types of situations or whatever. And he's a great guy, and he's still a great guy. And I talk to him not as frequently as like, but yeah, wrestling is it's a trip. It's a trip, man. It really
Oh
is.
yeah.
You're in music, you said, so I think
Well,
you kind
not
of can relate.
Not
not
only
only that,
that,
but actually a little background about myself. I actually am a former wrestler. I did it for about 6 years down in South Jersey, Williamstown, New Jersey, for a promotion majorly old time wrestling.
Okay.
Bounced around in some few other places in South Jersey, a couple Connecticut, stuff like that, but never made it to NEW. That would have been a big deal for me, but never never that far. I was a very small timer,
Oh, my
the
first road
weekend.
trip.
Oh, sorry.
No, go.
No, I was just gonna say, like, the weekend warrior type, like I did it on the weekends. I enjoyed doing it. I had a buddy that I rode with, and we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of stories, but yeah, that was so I know about the taking the bumps. I know about the bumps and bruises that come from it. So
Yep.
definitely can understand.
And you also know having a good travel partner is what it's all about.
Oh, absolutely. That's vital.
Yeah.
Like I've said it once, and I'll say it again. If I didn't have Andy Vivians as my he's my tag partner, my road partner for a long part of my career, if I didn't have him with me, I wouldn't have done it for as long as I did.
I totally agree with you. I'm sure you've heard of Brian Malonis.
Yep.
The Kingpin. I've traveled with him for a lot of years, and he always said it's all about the car you're in.
Yeah.
And my first, actually, this is a funny story. My first road trip was actually to New Jersey to a company called JCW with Ricky O, I believe.
I've heard JCW.
Yeah, and the guy that took me was Sam Amato Makua. And it was funny because I didn't know anything about getting paid or anything like that. So the promoter said, how do you want to get paid? Do you want to get flat fee, or do you want to get paid by the door? So I just looked over at Sam and I said, what do I want to do? He said, by the door. So I got paid by the door. And at the end of the night, he was at a different show down the street, or in a different, part of the state or whatever. And we met up because he picked me up, and I ended up making more money than him. I got paid by the door, Yeah, so it's kind of fun.
I never got paid by the door. I'll tell you that.
It's a tricky. It's it could go.
I was lucky if I was walking out with 2 hot dogs and a handshake. That was a good night for me.
I tell you, if they throw the soda in, man, you really
Oh,
know
dude,
You made it.
you're working for a good company if they give you the soda.
Yes. So just ask away, man. Ask any questions you want, man. I'm ready. I'm fired up.
Yeah, man.
What's your background as a fan of wrestling? Like, what got you into wrestling to begin with, in general?
What are your favorites?
I mean, I've been watching wrestling. Again, I'm 56, so I've seen every WrestleMania. My favorites, of course, the old timers. My first match that I ever seen live in the Boston Garden. I'm glad y'all sitting down. It was Pedro Morales versus Bruno Sammartino.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't actually remember how old I was, but I was young. And I remember that my uncle that took me, they got up in the turnbuckle. My uncle says, watch, he's going to hit him 10 times. And Sure enough, he hit it. I'm like, how'd you know that? And he
Yep.
told me a couple other things, and I was just a fan. And I mean, of course, Hulk Hogan, The Rock, all the regular people, Bret Hart. I was really a Shawn Michaels fan.
Man of
Good
my own
choice.
heart.
You know what it was? It was just the way that he presented himself and the storytelling, just the way that the stories came across. And yeah. And boy, has wrestling changed, man, over the years.
Oh
huh?
yeah. Oh,
It's
absolutely.
changed. Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty much. I just was a fan, and getting into it, like I said, was just something that kind of just happened. I didn't. I was my background as a kid. I was a bowler. My father owned bowling alleys all my life. So I've been bowling since I was about 6 years old. Like I've been to the Junior Olympics 3 times, and
Wow.
I was supposed to be
Nice.
a pro bowler.
Very cool.
But yeah, but also I'm a 32-year recovering alcoholic, and the alcoholism back then got a little bit in the way of the bowling. So we took a little detour, and you
That's
know,
fair.
yeah. And then
Sorry
when
to
we
hear
got
that,
out
man.
of
I'll
Oh,
be actually 2 years 2 years alcohol free July 16th. So
oh, dude, congratulations, man.
yeah.
Yeah,
man.
man. Hey, all kidding aside, and I mean this
I'm not
sincerely.
being sarcastic with that applause. Good for you
No,
guys.
no,
Yeah,
thanks.
seriously,
Thanks.
that's an
But hey,
achievement and a half,
you're
man.
over 30 years, so congrats to you too, man. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, and I mean this sincerely. Reach out to me anytime, man. If you ever need to, if you know what I mean.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate that, man. Yeah,
You're very
same goes
welcome.
for you, man. We still,
Yeah,
everybody stick together. It makes
Yeah,
it a
man.
lot easier for sure.
it's enough said on that one. Yeah.
Wow. Getting all sentimental on this podcast.
Right?
Wow, we
Like,
never
whoa, we're tackling
never
some
do
issues
this.
here.
What's up?
This is weird. This is some real life shit coming out.
I
What is
know,
going
right?
on here?
Let's get back to the
What a
entertainment.
change.
Absolutely.
So you're rep. So you're starting out. Well, first of all, I feel like I have to come back to the just like I'll say just like the right place, right time. Like, hey, you want to ref? Like that's a total like and again, being that we've interviewed referees before, I think it was Chris that told us that he pretty much he trained to be a ref, but his first match was just he was told, hey man, don't fuck up. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've had some similar words of wisdom throughout your time
Oh
or
man, yeah. I mean, the War Raiders, right? You know Todd Smith from the War Raiders, right?
Of
Big
course.
guy.
yeah.
Yeah, and I've refed for him a lot of times. And before we used to go out, he used to go hit me, say, "Don't suck, kid."
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Chris also said it was Hanson from the War Raiders that used to say
Hanson,
it to him.
thank you.
Oh, that
Thank
makes
you.
sense. That makes sense.
I'm pretty sure he said in his story. I'm pretty sure his story was Hanson as well.
Yep.
I'll have to.
Oh,
I'll have to.
Every show. And this, you laugh when I tell you this. If he was on the show and I wasn't reffing for him before my first match, I would go over and say, "Hey, I'm ready to go out." He said, "Don't suck, kid," and I'd
Yep.
put it down and go out. So it was one of those things. If he was on the show, I'd have to go over to him and have him tell me that.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. It's tradition at that point.
Tell me, and it is. Yeah.
Very
Ritual.
cool, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I tell you, man, I may not ever been on TV. Actually was, but not so. I always wanted to make it to the big time, but I haven't got there yet. And I always say this, and everybody tells me I'm wrong. I honestly believe it's just my age. If someone's going to their boss, "Hey man, we want to bring this ref in and put him on TV." How old is he? 56. Well, maybe we should look at something else. But that's all right. That's all right. I'm having a blast now.
But that
I finally learned to have fun.
and that speaks to your confidence in your work too, though, that you feel so strongly about your work. I know you mentioned before to us that you are the senior official on the NEW ref staff. So
Yes.
I mean, that just speaks to your body of work right there for you to have that confidence in yourself to say that, like, it's, if it wasn't for my age, I probably would be there. And I know we all have plans to come to some future NEW shows, so we'll have a chance to see you work. And I'm sure I've been in the ring, so I know I know how to appreciate a good ref. I can tell you that. So
yeah, we look forward to it.
And listen, if you're not going to make it to the quote unquote big time, listen, the caliber of talent that comes through Northeast Wrestling, there's worse places that you could be. So I'm sure in your time, especially in Northeast Wrestling, I know you mentioned the War Raiders, formerly War Machine. I mean, who are some other just stars that you've had the chance to, whether it's just ref their matches or just, just kind of interact with them?
Interact with, yeah.
The list goes on and on. I mean, from Matt Taven, I've done a lot of work with my mind just went blank. It literally just went blank.
Oh man.
It literally just went blank.
That happens.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing though. My biggest match that I've ever done has been at AEW, and it was with Cody Rhodes and Kurt Angle in a steel cage. So
You
that
ref
was
that?
yes,
Nice.
that was pretty
I know
cool.
what match you're talking about.
Yeah, I've done, and actually my mind is working again. I've done the
There you
Young
go.
Bucks.
There you go.
Yeah, I've done the Young Bucks and the Hardys. That was
Nice.
pretty
Oh
cool.
man.
And one of the coolest parts of that, two cool parts of that match. One part is one of the Young Bucks has Matt Hardy in a chin lock, and I'm checking on him. I say, "What do you say, Matt?" He goes, "Pretty cool, Kev, huh?" And I mean, kind of
That's funny.
kind of
That's
tearing the
funny.
ball back a little bit for a second there, but that happened. And then right as the other half through the match, Matt Jackson walked by and he says, "Too sweet me." So I'm like, okay, and boom.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've worked with Alberto Del Rio. I mean, I've worked with so many people. NEW is like my WWE. Everybody that gets released from these big companies, if you look at it and do some research, which I'm sure you guys do, they all go to NEW.
We've
Mhm.
actually done an episode on people getting fired.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
You go way back.
We've
Yeah,
actually
we know.
discussed when we've had like Chris and Vinny on the show, we actually discussed how a lot of these guys enjoy their runs through NEW. They enjoy during like when they're not on TV, so to speak, which for whichever company they're working for and whatever. Like they were saying that a lot of these former WWE guys, these guys, sorry, big time names come through NEW and they love it. And they give a lot of props to the staff that work it, including you guys. So I mean, we haven't had any of the actual stars besides Bill, but Bill obviously did give you guys some props himself too. So
Bill's a great guy, Uncle Bill, man. I hug him.
Uncle Bill.
Bill.
In wrestling, and you'll know what I mean when I say this. There's guys that you fist bump. There's guys that's your handshake. Then there's guys where you just come here and you just give a hug to, and that's Bill to me. He's a great guy. I've been in a lot of wars with him as far as wrestling wise. Him wrestling other people, meaning the war. Matter of fact, I did a huge match with him and Dan Barry at Beyond at the Fed. It was a no rules match, and it was a bloody mess. And
wow,
it was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, NEW. I mean, I've refed Ray Phoenix a lot. Check this one out: Ray Phoenix versus Kenny Omega.
Oh, that man. Wow, man.
That's
Yeah.
a spectacle.
So we're going over the match and stuff, and Kenny Omega saying, "No, be out to the ring. We got 20." And I'm like, no, it's 10. He said, "Oh boy, I'm not good with the 10 count." So I had to kind of, be a little extra.
Slow it down.
Man, I've had so many matches there, like so many good ones. And Mike Lombardi is the owner, and I always try to take a second and say thank you to him. Kevin Bo, Chase Del Monte owns Chaotic Wrestling. Thank you to him for everything they do for me. I've been at Chaotic Wrestling for almost my whole career. Beyond Wrestling, I've been there pretty much my whole career. Drew Cordero, thank you for everything. I just figured I'd throw a cheap plug in there, guys.
Hey, throw all the plugs in you
Throw
want.
all
Yeah,
the
right,
plugs
please.
you want.
Thank you.
So you said, I mean, that you bring up Beyond Wrestling. So were you there for, I mean, it's funny only because we brought it up when we had Bill on, because, all of the Team Tremendous matches that came through there. So I don't know if you had a chance to referee any of that, whether it be them and the Young Bucks or them and forgetting the team name now, but Young Bucks and Kevin Steen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yes. Thank you.
So
I don't know.
Adam Cole's part of that too.
Yes.
That's right. So I don't know if you got a chance.
The Mount Rushmore of
to-
wrestling.
Yes. So I don't know if you had a chance to.
I've been there for all of those.
Oh,
That's
man.
awesome.
Let me tell you something, and this is, you laugh when I say this, but nobody's messed up more Young Buck super kicks than this guy.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Super kick party pooper.
Yeah, I know. Oh, don't hurt me. I think the problem there is I'm older and my body's trained not to fall and to protect myself. So it takes a little extra work to get it right, But
It makes for a good ref bump, though. No.
well, I'll tell you what, refs don't bump; they crumble.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, if you're a ref and you take a flat back bump from a worker, chances are he's going to pick you up and bump you again. That's just what I was told. So
Yeah.
with me, you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to crumble,
No, it's better off. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, NEW is I've done so much with them. I mean, I've worked with Ryback a lot. Mick Foley. I mean, Mick Foley.
Yeah.
There's the cheap pop.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mick Foley. Man, I'll tell a real quick story if that's okay.
You could tell any Mick Foley story you want.
Floor is yours.
I got hurt in Ohio probably 4 or 5 years ago. Like I just was exhausted. I collapsed. I ended up in the hospital. I didn't have insurance, and I got a bill that I thought it was a zip code. And Donovan Dijak. Make sure I get everybody right here. Mikey Webb, Scotty Slade, Anthony Green, Brian Fury. They all put a little thing together and helped me out. And Mick promoted it. And once that happened, just took off. And
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
He
awesome.
has a special
That's awesome.
place in my heart, man. And I say thank you to him every time. And he's like, I just do. He's another one. I walk up to him and I give him a hug. And the people that I've gotten to meet, man, like, oh man, John Moxley. I did a meet and greet with John Moxley, and John Moxley back then, a few years ago, he was working a lot and he's just tired and he's beat up and he doesn't want to talk to a lot of people, and he's the best meet and greet guy because the people just fly right through because he doesn't talk too much. And everybody's trying to just, hey, do you need anything? And he's just like, hey, man, just you take care of me, get these people away from me, But to work with him all weekend, and one of the matches I got to do was him against Big Cass with Enzo Amore as the manager on the outside. And I had some interaction with him and I got to do a spot with him. And it was really cool. And we're going over the match and they're like questioning me on, hey, what are you going to do if I'm outside at 8, 9, or 10? And I mean, at 7 or 8. And they're asking me questions and Moxley's yelling, he's all right, leave him alone. He knows what he's doing. And just to have that, like, and man, it's like, now you got the brain flowing now. It's funny because Drew Cordero just messaged me like as we're having this interview. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. I get to do some really cool stuff, man. Like I really do. I get down on myself because, again, I always feel that I could have made it a little further. But TV is a whole different game. You got people in your ear, and it's a whole different ball game. But I'm sure if I was shown the ropes, I could do it. But NEW, getting back to them, I could just sit here and talk to you all day about them, about what they've done for me in my career. They've helped me out so much. What's another? I mean, Matt Hardy. Like, I talk to Matt and Jeff Hardy like I talk to my brother and my friends. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just so cool. John Morrison, I was out there warming up a couple.
Johnny last name.
Johnny last name, yeah.
I was outside warming up outside and just doing some leg raises and some stretches and stuff because you got to get the old body in shape. And he just pulled up right beside me. Yeah, and started doing the same thing. And he's like, "Hey, brother, man, try this." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like,
yep.
All right, maybe we'll try that again. But he sent me a video like of some stretches and stuff like that. And I think what it was is he totally respected that an old guy's out there, stretching and making sure that he's ready to go to get in there. Don't worry about how old I am. I'll keep up with anybody in there. And I'll just go out and say it right now. There's no singles match on the planet I can't ref.
Wow. Nice. There you go.
Now that's
listen, I mean, you
statement.
said you did Omega and Ray Phoenix. I mean,
yeah,
that's a pretty high bar. If you can keep up with that, I'd say you're good to go.
Yeah, and NEW, we'll probably go back and forth to that because things will just pop into my head.
Yeah,
the one thing that I wish that I did, and I try to do it now, but it gets so busy I forget. I wish I could have wrote every showdown every match that I ever reffed and everybody that I got to work with.
I wish I did the same thing, man. I say the same thing. I wish I kept better track of my career.
Yep.
Like
Because
Chris
it's
Jericho just came out with a book. He has like he did that. He has like every match ever. So yeah, I can see why.
Ace Austin does that.
Okay.
He has every match, every show, everything he's ever done. So yeah, I wish I did that, but there's so much good stuff out there that it's just, man, I've been a lucky guy, you know. And I forgot where I was going with that, but I get a little sidetracked sometimes, so you have to kind of keep me going.
We don't mind at all, man.
No, trust me.
If you ever listen to the show, you'll know that's not an issue.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
Good.
It's good to know that we got yet
Place.
another firsthand account of how Foley is indeed good.
It's funny
That's
because
fine.
our book, because Dennis, or
Yeah, we had that conversation today with Dennis.
is there
Yeah.
anybody nicer than Mick Foley? Nope.
And now we have a story. So
Yeah, right. Like I don't see how anyone dislikes him. Like even if you've never met him, I just feel like how he comes across, whether it be on TV or just in interviews. Yeah. And again, we enough firsthand accounts, and we have one here. How great he is.
I mean, he followed me on Twitter. He followed me on Twitter just so he could direct message me to make sure I was doing okay. I mean, how cool is that?
Dude,
you
he's a
know?
very good dude, man.
Yeah. But I mean, I could just go on and on about this wrestling stuff. So just keep asking away. It'll trigger the memories.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned good road partner is always important, and I know you do a lot of work with NEW, which is pretty local East Coast. But you mentioned Ohio. Any other big road trips that you've taken out that you might have some stories about?
I mean, I have a couple stories actually. I used to work for another big company. They're kind of a bigger time company, if you catch my drift there. I had a show. We were down in South Carolina. Yeah, it was big time wrestling. Steve Perkins was very good to me when I broke in. And it was South Carolina, Morgan Arena, I think, or something like that. And drove the ring truck down there. And we had 400 chairs in there. So we get there, we set up, we do the show, and I get to work with Vader, the late great Big Ben.
Oh, okay.
Man.
Nice.
So cool. Vader's working Flex Armstrong, the champ. So how does Vader finish his matches? The Vader bomb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. The champ doesn't want to take the Vader bomb, right? So guess who takes the Vader bomb? Me.
Nice.
Oh,
I don't tell this story a lot because people are probably like, Quinn, I don't know, maybe you've been hit too many times, but so I legit took the Vader bomb, right? So I'll kind of backtrack a little bit. This is my first time with big time wrestling. So Steve Perkins walks out as I'm walking out to the ring with for the match. And I walked out, man, there was so many people. Hey, can we swear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Man, there was so many people. I literally stopped and I was just like, holy shit. It's the most people I ever seen. I think it was, I don't even know how many people. I mean, it was thousands of people.
Wow.
So I get into the ring and these two just, it wasn't a match that was going to happen for whatever reason. I don't know why. And we'll just leave it at that. So next thing you know, the champ just, screw you, and powders out. And I'm like, oh shit, here it comes. So he grabs me, and I'm like, oh shit. He's I got to kind of be kayfabe here, if you know what I'm saying. But, he kind of took care of me to stay there, do what you know. And then he picks you up and he drops you. You know how he does that first before he gives you the splash? Right. When I tell you he picks you up and drops you, he picks you up and he drops you. Like, trust me on that one. It's probably, dude, I'm looking up, right? No, I'm set, And I'm looking up and I'm saying, what the hell is this shit? No fucking way, dude. So I'm like this. I'm like, I'm rolling out. And I'm like, wait a minute. If I roll out, I'm going to get beat up.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to do it, but looking up and I'm like, well, here we go. And I know that he hits, does the three things and then goes. So I'm watching 1, 2, 3. I exhale. I'm like, okay.
I'm still alive.
It was, oh man, yeah. It was like getting hit by a train.
There's no way to like. It's
no, that's all you can do for something like that. All you can do is just like he said, just tighten up and just hope for the best.
You guys might have the edge on other podcasts out there, man. I'm being real for a quick second. Not a lot of guys have like the wrestling experience. So you guys have all this experience and someone who was in the wrestling.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
from wrestling on, you can chime in on stuff like and no, yeah, man, it works. I get it.
And that's kind of how it works so far. Like it's funny because like somebody who usually tells a story and it'll remind me of a story, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that happened to me too. Like, you know.
Yep.
But
So-
it's funny.
So I took the Vader bomb and I'm laying there what I felt like was an eternity.
Oh, I'm sure.
Finally, they come and they scrape me up. And, they gave me the Iggy, and I'm like, oh, what? And I go to the back, and he pats me on the back, almost knocks me over. He's like, "You all right, kid?" I go, "Thank you, sir. I'm good, good."
Yeah.
So I got to work with him like 3 days in a row. So the next day, he worked with Jimmy Preston, the throw ride. So the throw ride takes the takes the Vader bomb, kind of gets up, goes outside, fixes his back, and walks to the back. And I'm like, uh-oh, he's not going to be happy about that. So Vader walked back. It was ref. Talk to him. Tell him how he's supposed to take it. I just went over and talked to him, and I'm like, But it was like getting to work with a guy like Vader. I mean, come on.
That's a legend, man.
Yeah.
A legend.
Yep. And it's just so cool, man. And, again,
And that's a luxury of Northeast wrestling. Like we said, like I know, the whole like didn't get on TV, but and then you want to say legends. I mean, you guys have Jerry the King Lawler all the time up there. So I imagine you've crossed paths with him many times.
Oh, I'm his favorite meet and greet referee. I mean, that might be a little presumptuous, but I think he might go along. He's just, you know what it is with him, man. And I mean this. Him and Tommy Dreamer. This is how I feel. That's them. Like that's them. Like if you go out to dinner with them, I think that's what you're gonna get with them. If you go to the ball game, I think that's what you're gonna get. You go to a wrestling event, of course, you're gonna get maybe a little different side of him, but I think for the most part, that's who he is, and he's just an awesome dude, man. Awesome.
I'm sure he's got. I know. It might be a little known thing to some other people out there, but I know he's a very accomplished artist. I know I've seen some of his artwork. Did you ever have a chance to see any of his artwork up close?
Oh man, I've seen him draw Batman
Wow.
live. I've seen him draw Santa Claus. I'm not sure why he got that request, but he drew it.
Was it
Yeah,
Mick, was it Mick Foley?
That was about to say something like that.
Pop, that was good. That was good. And I've seen him do it a few times, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
I've seen some of his work, man. It is incredible. He does some good stuff.
Yeah. Yes. We're at a Comic-Con in I think it was Jacksonville, Florida. I think it was a little bit slower, but we kind of did have a line, and I think it was Ron Simmons came over and he's talking to Jerry Lawler.
Damn.
And I'm looking at people in the line, I'm looking at the people I work with, and I look at them. I said, if you think I'm going over and interrupting that conversation, you're out of your mind. Mike Lombardi comes over and he's like, "We'll just let him talk." I said, "Oh, of course." I mean, you know when to go talk to them and when to back off, because don't forget, man, these guys might not have seen each other in a few years, and they might see each other for another 6 months or a year or something like that. So that's cool. And this is another thing. Every time I meet somebody from like TV, whatever it is from TV, they're always bigger than you think they are. Every single time.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, I've met a few guys too, and they were always, bigger than I thought too. But you've probably met a lot more than I have. So
even AJ Styles, I mean, he's not that big. He's taller than you think he is.
I'm sure. Yeah.
When I got to work with Braun Strowman at the meet and greet at Northeast Wrestling.
Oh God.
Just
I shook his hand and I looked over, right? So every time I gave him a bottle of water, give it back to me. One shot. I mean, and you know what? He's a cool dude. Super cool.
I followed his like personal Instagram page, Adam Schur, and like,
yeah,
dude looks like he just likes to have fun doing redneck shit. God bless him for that.
Yeah,
So he's
absolutely,
like, so he's Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, right.
My
And
my
Brock
fiance,
Lesnar's Canadian.
right?
Brock Lesnar's not
Unofficially.
Canadian. He's from Minnesota.
Unofficially.
Close enough.
It is
Hold on,
close
hey,
enough.
no, hey, you back to your couch. You back to your corner. Take it easy. Back it up. Listen, I'm not
That's
getting
great. We
paid
got a
for
ref
this.
for the show now. This
I
is
know,
awesome.
right? Shit.
But yeah, like I always get that impression. Like so one of my favorite wrestlers of all time is Jeff Hardy. He's like in my top 3 personally, and I always imagine that like yeah, if I ever actually met him, I'd probably be like, oh, okay, I gotta look up.
Right.
Yeah, he's definitely taller than you think he is for sure. I mean, I'm 5'8", 5'9", so he's got to be 6. I don't know, 6'2". I don't know. I'm not sure how tall he is, but he's definitely taller than I am.
I mean, especially in the 90s, you would see all these guys, you know, you have on who was on the Undertaker and Kane and Big Show, you know, all those 7-foot guys. So all these guys that are 6'3" look tiny, but I mean, they're
I tend
huge.
to. I feel
Everyone
like
says
people-
Billy Gunn is like the best example of that, or
Oh yeah.
a late Scott Hall, who, you know, he was always walking with Kevin Nash, and then you're
Yeah.
like, oh wait, this dude's huge.
honestly, I think a good example is I think people forget Hulk Hogan is actually 6'7".
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true.
Wow.
You triggered a Billy Gunn story,
Oh boy.
Yes, please. Oh yes,
Okay.
please.
so I have to
I'm
pick
an
Billy
ass
Gunn.
man.
I have to pick Billy Gunn up at Logan Airport on a Friday afternoon at about 5:30.
That already sounds
That's
miserable
already
to drive
terrible.
right. So it's some crazy ass traffic time. Right now, I'm going to Norwalk, Connecticut for a stadium show for Northeast Wrestling. Right now, I pull in the airport and I'm with Darby Allin. I pick up Darby Allin first.
in. Oh,
Remind me
Just
to
name
get
drop
back-
everybody. Why won't?
Remind me to get back to that guy because I got a good story about him.
Awesome.
I bet.
So I'm looking around and like I can't find him, right? So I said to Darby, I said, "Hey, I'll be right back. I know how I'm finding him." He says, "What are you gonna do?" I said, "I'm just gonna get out of my car and look for the guy that stands above everybody else because he's so tall." Sure
Yep.
enough, that's how I found him.
Yep.
So I just I forgot his real name is Kip. So I'm like, "Billy," and he finally looked over, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm your ride." So he comes over. Now I'm driving a 2010 Toyota Corolla, right? A small little compact car. Now there's this big giant. He looks over at me and he goes, "I've had a bad day. Are you serious?" I said, "Yep, I'm sorry." So he kind of opens the door. He sits, you know, he backs himself in. He sits down. He puts the seat back. He says, "Hey, can you open up the moonroof?" So I said, "Yep." I open up the moonroof and he's trying to get as comfortable as he can. And he's just not in a good mood. So for about the first probably 20 minutes, that might be exaggerated. I don't know. The first few minutes, it was a very silent ride. And I'm just like, oh shit, this is going to be a long ride. We're stuck in traffic. Now I'm worried about if I have to take a piss or whatever. And we're just driving. And all of a sudden he said, "All right, guys, I'm all right. Sorry about that." And I'm just like, oh, shit.
Sometimes that's all you need, man. Just a few minutes to just decompress.
You know, in wrestling, like when someone needs that, just leave them
Yeah.
alone.
Just give it to
Leave
them.
alone. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you just got to give it to
you're
them.
you're in a tight space on a plane, and then you walk out and go, come on, man, this tiny ass car. So I get it.
Yeah. So I just have the radio on, you know, whatever. So he turns the radio on, then he shuts the radio off. "Darby, how you doing? I haven't seen you since blah blah." You still, you know, and they're going back and forth talking. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, this is really cool, man. Like, this is really cool. And it's just like the traffic's bad. And now Mike Lombardi is very like prompt on time like that. Now he's calling me. Billy looks over at me. He goes, "You answer that phone." And he says, "I'm gonna throw it out the window." He goes, "This traffic's too bad. Like I'll text my agent and tell him what's up." And I said, "Please just tell him to tell Mike so he doesn't think I'm ignoring him, you know." So Mike just keeps calling and calling. And Billy's like, so finally he's like, "Shut your phone off." I'm like, "Okay." And I shut my phone off. And I'm like, "Please tell your agent that whatever." So we're just driving along. And all of a sudden we get to a rest area on the Pike. And he looks and he sees a Boston market. And he looks at me, looks at the traffic, he looks back at me. "Fuck it, take the egg, take it." So this is where it gets really good, right? So we park the car. He goes in. He comes out. Now he comes out with 2 bags, right? So I'm like, yeah, fucking right, man. He got me some food. So he
Yeah.
gets in the car and he pulls out this chicken pie and he goes like this. By the way, they're both for me. Sorry, brother. And he just eats them. He's eating them. He's chowing them. He's chowing them. So we're getting close to the arena. And do you know Jared Silverclad? He's with Northeast Wrestling. He does a manager gimmick. Um,
Not
you'll
familiar.
see him.
I'm sure we
He's
saw him
so,
again.
trust me, he's so annoying you would remember. So I'm on speakerphone. I don't think he knows I'm on speakerphone. He goes, so where does Billy want to go? Does he want to go to the ring or the locker room? Billy goes, locker room. And he says, oh shit. He goes, all right, I'll meet you over there. So I drop him off at the locker room. And then I go to park the car and I notice that he leaves his phone in my car. And I'm like, oh boy. And it's one of those ones with like the money clip inside of it with all the credit cards and shit. And I'm
Oh
like,
boy.
oh boy. I'm like, this is going to get interesting. So I close it and I'm like, all right, make sure I get this to him. So I'm trying to find him and I can't. Next thing you know, he walks by. He goes, thanks, buddy. I go, hey. I go, hey, you forgot your phone. And he goes like this. He's like, thank you. So I think I made friends with him after that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure he,
I'd say
at
so.
least he didn't rip him off. So he,
Yeah, right.
So I saw him down at the Jacksonville Comic-Con that we were talking about, and I had to go over and say hi to him. And I didn't have this beard back then. So he looked at me and he's like, and he looked down at his phone and I go, yep. Right
yep,
hand,
that's the guy.
I remember you. And he told the kids, he goes, I remember him. He's okay. He's okay.
Yeah.
And then he was telling me about his pre-workout. He has a pre-workout that came out from BPI. I don't know if you saw those pushes, but he was telling
I
me.
know he was doing like a lot of like the nutritional stuff and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
it doesn't
so he's
surprise
got
me.
this workout powder and pre-workout, and according to
Mhm.
him, they're like strong as can be. So he's telling me to try it. So I'm telling him, I have a caffeine sensitive. He goes, dude, just buy it, right? Just buy it so you can buy one for me, and you just stick your finger in and take a little bit. It'll be cool. So I'm like, all right. So it's just another cool story, man. Like, and to talk to him, like Billy
Yeah.
Gunn,
Yeah,
know.
that's awesome. That was really cool.
We could sit here until like 4 a.m. because
Yeah, I'm sure we could. Like it's funny we say that like with the other guests too. It's like every time where we're just like, well, we don't want to keep you too long if you don't, whatever. They'll always just be like, oh, we can go on forever. I got stories. I can keep going forever.
I want to write stuff down, and then I'm like, with me, it's just better. Like you say something and it triggers something.
That's kind of how we work anyway. So
yeah, right. Like that's I think that's literally what we're doing. I think we've asked like 2-3 questions collectively, and then we're just like, hey, stories. I love this.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
go.
Yeah.
It's great.
Another Jeff Hardy story, just real quick. We're at
Yes.
a meet and greet, and all of a sudden he calls me over. He pulls me in. He goes, dude, I got to go to the bathroom, and I mean now. So, and dude, when I tell you there's a line from here to like Mississippi for these guys, there is. So I go to Matt and I go to the guy that's working with me. I go, hey, can you just take care of this? He has to go to the bathroom right now. And Matt's like, just go. So I start taking him to the bathroom and he pushes me aside. He goes, I'm sorry, brother. He just went to the bathroom. He got out. He's like, I'm so sorry about that, dude, but it was about to be an accident. I said, you're talking to a 52-year-old guy. Like, don't worry about it. But I'm sorry, you were just about to ask a question.
I was gonna bring up. I'm just, we always have to ask. I mean, all these, first of all, awesome stories, great times. Has a match ever not gone as planned? Has there ever been consequences for that on your end? Or just what's like, I don't want to say
bad
like
moments in wrestling.
Yeah, I don't want to say like the worst situation you've been involved with, but like what's something that's just not gone as planned that you've had your hands in?
Yeah. You gotta be careful what you say nowadays.
And don't listen. Don't name names. No pressure.
This is okay. This is okay. It was Jonathan Gresham against Chris Hero.
Okay.
It was at Beyond Wrestling, and let's just say the match ended before it should have. A 3 count happened because somebody didn't kick out.
There it is. That was
Yep.
going to be my follow-up.
Yeah.
Did who messed up what?
Chris Hero was in a backslide, and it was a very late kick, and my hand just came down, and my hand hit 3, and yeah, it was an interesting situation. I'm trying not to pull the curtain back too far back on professional wrestling,
No, of course.
but let's say the situation was supposed to be different than that, and there was a lot of words exchanged. To this day, I don't know how much of that was supposed to happen and how much was real, if you will. But I don't know if you ever met Chris Hero or seen him. That dude's a big dude, man.
Mhm.
So
And Jonathan Gresham's the only wrestler I'm taller than.
what a wrestler he is, huh?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
he's fantastic.
Yeah.
So that was a rough situation. But you know what? At the end of the day, I just was at a seminar. I picked Chris Hero up at the airport probably about 2 or 3 months ago for Chaotic Wrestling. I have his phone number. He's just a really cool dude, man, and he was very good about that situation. I had another situation with a match. It's a little foggy, to be honest with you, but it had to do with Eddie Kingston and TJ Marconi, and this match went off the rails.
You
Eddie
don't
Kingston,
you don't
it's-
say.
Yeah. I mean, this is how the match started, right? I'm pretty new. I have never met Eddie Kingston. Rich Palladino goes to introduce people, and he says, "In this corner," Eddie Kingston grabs the mic. "They know who the fuck I am. Ring the bell." Slams the mic down. I'm like,
Eddie
"Oh."
Kingston.
Yeah.
Yep. So that match got a little real. I ended up getting knocked out, actually.
Oh wow. Like legitimately knocked out?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. All right. Let me backtrack that. a
Well,
little.
I don't mean like out for the count of 10, like out.
No,
But
no,
I
I
mean, like,
got I
know
got
I've been knocked out in the ring before where I've been like,
yeah.
what just happened?
To the point where I was just told to get out of the ring. I think it was Kingston that told me, but I was loopy because I got in between them.
Mm,
And let me tell you, there was some friggin' haymakers going, and I caught one. And
live potatoes, so to speak.
oh yeah, man! I got caught by Marconi, and I think I did. One of them caught me, and I was so loopy that I was walking to the back, and I'll never forget it. Tommaso Ciampa was at his table, and I literally just went down.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And he helped me up, and they put me in a chair, and him and Homicide were helping me out. And then all of a sudden, I hit, "Bro." Riddle comes
Riddle,
up.
Riddle.
"What happened, bro?" And I looked at him, my eyes puffed up, and he goes, "What the fuck?" And I go, "I have no idea." And he comes over, he puts a shirt over my shoulder. He goes, "You need a shirt, bro." And he just walked in. It's just like so random. It was like he just walked in movie, like script, like a scene, and, "Hey, what's up, bro?"
He
Dude,
had to he hit his lines and then he just carried on with his
That
business.
sounds like a
heard-
Matt Riddle story.
all I
Like,
heard,
That was
"Bro."
that's as Matt Riddle of a story as
Right.
I think
So
I'd ever
he's
experienced.
he's
So
literally just him. Like, is he the most
That is him,
himself?
yeah.
Like,
Yes, I've got to rep for him a lot, and he's really cool. We were at another stadium show, and I forget if I ripped my shirt or whatever, and I just go over to him and I say, "Bro," and I don't have there you go, bro. And some cool stuff, man. You know, like, I mean, I've got to travel with Rey Mysterio and Alberto Del Rio in the same vehicle from Boston to New York. I mean,
Wow.
come on.
I
You
mean,
want to hear a Ric Flair story?
Yeah.
yes, of course I do.
So I got to pick Ric Flair up, right? Steve Rickard set it up for me. Was taking him from Providence, Rhode Island. He had been at Top Rope the night before, and we were going to Northeast Wrestling. So I pick him up at his hotel, and I meet him, and it's just I mean, come on now, Ric Flair.
Ric Flair.
So I get to meet him, and I'm trying to be "Hey, how are you, sir?" and whatever. So we sit at the bar, and he has a glass of wine. He says whatever he's having, and I said, "Nope." I said, "I don't drink. I'll just take a soda or whatever." And Rick went to pay the bill, and the guy wouldn't take his money, and so
I imagine he gets that all the time too.
and he says, "In exchange for money, how about an autograph?" Rick looked over at me. He said, "Sure." So I went to grab his bag respectfully. He looked at me and he said, no. He goes, I can still grab the bag. So he takes it over and we have a big SUV and I open the pack. He goes, now you can take the bag. Put it in. And this dude, guys, this blew my mind. Now, this is Ric Flair. So I'm thinking he's just going to get in the back seat, be on his phone and just chill out, right? Nope. Gets right in the front seat, shuts the radio off. I'm like, oh boy. So we start driving, right? He reaches over, he goes, so tell me your backstory, kid.
He does the chest slap before he asks you.
No radio, no nothing.
That's awesome.
Talk about on the fly, and you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, my name's Kevin Quinn, and I said, from Woburn, Mass. I started wrestling when I was 45. And he goes, what? He goes, 45. And so, I tell him my whole story. And this was the day after Roddy Piper had passed away. Roddy Piper passed away the night before. So Ric Flair's phone was ringing off the hook. I mean, there was a phone call that he took was with Charlotte Flair. And how do you not listen? Like, I'm trying to turn the music up to not listen. He looks over and he's okay. And he turns the music down. And, it was just, we're just talking and just having a great trip. Now, all of a sudden he says, I'm hungry. Can you take this rest area? There's a Subway. We'll go there. So we grab a sandwich and whatever. And he goes, what do you want? And I tell him and he grabs it. And he has about 100 jalapenos on it, right? Then all of a sudden I look over and I can feel him like clench up. I'm like, oh, lunch needs to go. And he says, sir, can you take this? And I drive right by the exit. And he puts his hands and he looks straight ahead. He goes, sir, when I ask you to take an exit, I need you to take the exit. And I'm saying to myself, fuck, I'm going to get in a fight with Ric Flair. The guy's got to, use the restroom. So lo and behold, there was an exit right away. Right. So I took it. I have no clue where I am. And I'm saying to myself, I look up and I'm like, just please help. Lo and behold, I shit you not, there is a rest area with a big gas station, like this big, like huge, like rest area. And he looks over at me and he says, pull over. And he literally just runs out. He goes into the bathroom and I shit you not. He gets out. Woo! We did it. We made it. I shit you not, man. He did that. And he gets in the car and I'm just like, I go, I go, you feel better? He goes, yeah. I go, good. I'll be right back.
This is all before the bathroom.
I'm saying to myself, now should I do that? And I'm like, I don't know.
Wait, he did that. He did that before. I thought he came out of the bathroom like that.
He did. He came out. Now he gets back in the truck and I'm like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I run in. I get out. Now I'm thinking to myself, now should I do I made it. He might not like that. I just get in the car and we move on. And I guess my cat's going to be part of this now.
That's all cool.
That's cool.
Oh, that was a great story, right? Now the story gets better. So
I don't know how it gets better. That's
no.
It gets So he has a briefcase in the back, right? So when we get to the arena, he says to me, he goes, look, lock this up. Nobody takes this car. My briefcase in the back has some very important stuff in it. It's called money. And I'm like, of course, no problem. So I lock up the car and I have the keys and stuff. All of a sudden, Anthony Green comes over and he says, hey, I need the keys to the vehicle. And I said, absolutely not. And he says, no, dude, like Mike said I could take Rey Mysterio back to the hotel. I said, dude, absolutely not. Ric Flair's bag in there. As he told me, nobody takes the vehicle. Next thing you know, he calls them, whatever he did. He took the vehicle. Ric Flair comes back and he says, hey, can you take me to the vehicle? I said, well, about that. He said, I told you not to let anybody take it. And I said, look, Anthony Green talked to the promoter and he took Rey Mysterio back to the hotel. Get him on the phone. So Kurt, the ring announcer, gets him on the phone. Ric Flair takes the phone. This is Ric Flair, and you better get that vehicle back here fucking immediately. And so he gets back. Anthony Green gets back in the vehicle, gets out of the vehicle. I thought there was going to be a fight. I honestly did. And then Ric Flair just walks by him, gets in his limo, and leaves. I mean, That's the story. Excuse me, Cap. So I literally thought Ric Flair was going to kick the shit out of Anthony Green. And if you tell Anthony Green, like if you ask him about this story, his response was, I would have hit him back. You know, so that's just a cool story. I mean, there's a ton of them. I could, like, again, I could sit here and talk all night. I can't believe it's 11:20 already.
Time flies, man.
Yeah, and I get going when you trigger the old memory. You know,
No,
stuff
it's
gets-
good, man. It makes our
great.
job a lot easier. So
We had like a Ric Flair needing to take a shit story has made it to this podcast. So
yeah,
I mean,
that's not only is that the
This is
biggest name drop, but
unbelievable.
that's
It's a
also the
wrap.
biggest deuce that I think has been mentioned on the podcast. So
I mean, that was a good story. That was a good story. Then there was that time I lost Rob Van Dam at the meet and greet.
you lost them.
I lost him.
All right, hold on. Now, Rob Van Dam, as we all know, smokes a lot of marijuana. So
Right.
I feel like losing Rob Van Dam in a public place could be a very bad thing.
So let's just say
Just
I
be
was
lost for
actually-
hours just looking at shit.
Let's just say it was a pre-meet and greet time, and we set up a table, and I talked to him. We get everything, you know, set up, and how do you want to do this? You know, how long do you want to talk to him? What do you want to give me to get them to go away, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, so we're just talking. Next thing you know, I go to the bathroom, I come back, and he's not there. And I'm like, oh, whatever. So I'm like, interesting. So Mike Lombardi comes over, says, where's Van Dam? And I go, I don't know. He says, you don't know. So you lost Rob Van Dam. I guess if you want to categorize it like that, I did. And next thing you know, Van Dam comes in. I'm right here, man. And he looks at me. He goes, "Keep everybody away from me. I am good to go." So everybody would come over. I'm like, "He's good. He's good. He's good." So yeah, that was just another story about that, about him.
I feel like this is all making me want to see RVD and Matt Riddle in a room together.
Oh wow, yeah, that would be.
First off, you can't see shit.
Right,
It's like there's just a cloud of smoke that follows them.
right, yeah. Oh, I just thought of another story, but it just fell out of my mind. But I'm sure it'll come back. What else? I did a match with Kevin Steen. I reffed one of Kevin Steen's last indie matches. It was against Chris Dickinson, and he hurt his ankle because Dickinson was trying to put him in the ankle lock. So he's in the ring after the match, and he's like, "Ref, my ankle, loosen my shoe, loosen my boot, my shoe." And he's got like wrestling shoes on. I say, "Take it off." So I take it off. He gets up, shakes my hand, and says, "Thank you," and walks to the back. I'm like, what was that? So we get to the back. He goes, "Hey, ref, can you get the other shoe?" And I'm like, "God damn it!" So
he's just ribbing you.
but I didn't know it at the time. You know
No,
what I
but
mean?
that's good. That is a good one.
Shoe off. Take his shoe off. He gets up. He walks away. You know.
I
Yeah.
like
Leaves you holding the shoe.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You know, and then there was that time that I got suspended from Beyond Wrestling for punching AR Fox in the face. That was pretty cool.
Okay.
Well, we had a situation, and he threw a punch at me, and I threw a punch back at him, and I connected, and you know, I knocked him for a loop and whatever. So the next show, I come out to the first match. Next thing you know, he comes out, and I get suspended. And I'm like, you know, to this day, I still want to wrestle that guy. I mean, he's the best high flyer in the world, so I can't wrestle him. But I mean, I'm from Boston, so I can fight him.
You
I
fight
mean,
him, yeah.
Oh,
Fight
right,
him.
yeah, right.
Bastin.
Yeah, Fox, if you're listening, I still haven't forgot about you, man. You know, I'd probably I'd hit you up on Twitter or anything like that, but I don't think you use that stuff. But anyway, he's another
There we
one.
go. There's a challenge laid out right here on the podcast.
Well, that's a challenge that probably the end of this guy.
Nonsense,
But I-
man. We'll be in your corner and everything. We'll come back you up.
It's awesome. I need it. I know some really cool. Like Matt Taven is one of my favorite people to be in the ring with. He's just a great guy. Mike Bennett. All these guys, man. Dijak is probably the guy that I ref for the most. JT Dunn, I've been knocked out from him by that damn death by elbow more than probably anybody. Yeah, it's just Dude, like I love what I do. I'm finally over the fact like that I didn't get hired by a bigger company. I've got more no's from Ring of Honor than anybody else. And I'll tell a quick story. And this is like, I guess it's going to be real talk for a minute, if you will.
Lay it on
Go
us.
for it.
Yeah.
Joe Mandek, who was the ref there, actually had moved on with his career. So he had refed his last match. Now, this is before anybody knew that Ring of Honor was doing what it was doing, going on a hiatus and all that stuff. So they were looking for a ref. So I got a text message from somebody saying, "Are you interested?" And I responded back with capital YES. So I got, I had to send them some stuff or whatever. I did what I had to do. And this is a story that I'm told. The story was that I got a yes from pretty much everybody in the locker room. I got a yes from the people in above management. And then they were told that Todd Sinclair makes the final decision. Then they went over to Todd Sinclair and once again said no. I don't understand it, to be honest with you. That's the fourth no that I got from him. When Paul Turner was he was in Ring of Honor for years, and Paul Turner left and went to AEW.
Mhm.
So the night that Paul Turner left Ring of Honor, I got 2 text messages saying that there might be a spot available. I messaged Todd Sinclair the next day. Immediate response back, we're all set for refs. I find out that Paul Turner is good friends with Steve Domingue, who's a friend of mine. And Steve Domingue got the spot because Paul just called him up and said, guess what? You're now reffing for Ring of Honor. So that goes into saying a little bit that politics is in wrestling. It's not always about your talent. But if it really is about politics, I know 95% of the AEW roster. I know probably 80%. Well, not 80%, but I know a lot of the key players in NXT. Heck, I know the head writer. I have his number. I know him very well. Does that help me get anywhere? Nope. So you just have to come to conclusions of one of 2 things. You either do it because of the passion. Let me tell you, if you do it for the money, at the level that I'm at, it's there, but and I will say that the companies that I work for take care of me, and they take care of me very well. But I will say this as well: Northeast Wrestling, above and beyond, takes care of me better than anybody in wrestling ever has, and that needs to be said because Mike Lombardi's flown me to places. I do these meet and greets, and I get paid very well, and I have the opportunity to work with these people. And it's just awesome. It's just awesome. That's a little real talk right there.
And listen, hey, as we all know, Ring of Honor is under new ownership. So don't slam that door shut just yet. You never know.
You never know.
You
Never
never
say
know.
never.
I think
believe.
there's always the possibility if you catch Tony at the right time, and I'm not going to elaborate on that because you could. Thanks, CJ.
Sorry.
But
Sorry.
yeah, you could probably like get a shot
an
at
itch.
least on like darker elevation for
You never
stars.
know.
Yeah, I actually I am friends with the guy who runs the security for the company, and I actually had talked to him at a point where I did a big meet and greet for Cody Rhodes at the Hudson Civic Center, to the point where I had the meet and greet flowing so good that they actually asked me for my contact information. So I heard Cody ask, say, hey, get his contact information. Dude, I thought I was getting hired like as a referee. All excited. And don't get me wrong, Sam, the guy that runs it, is a great guy, awesome guy, and he's a straight shooter. And he came over to me and said, we'd like to bring you in and do some security. You do a great job at these things. And he was very clear, he goes, if we get you in for security and you go try and find, try to get a job as a ref, we'll have to get rid of you. And I'm like, no, I don't work like that. I would never do that. So that's something that still could happen. Next time they come around, I'm working on that. That's something you need to get in place months in advance because these guys know so many people that they just go to city to city to city, and they've just plucked the same people over and over and over.
Right.
It's easy. It's
Oh,
easy.
that's the thing about the United States. You got wrestling schools all over the country,
Yeah.
so plenty of students to pick from when you need jobbers
yeah.
or security guys and shit like that. So
Exactly. And I'll throw a plug in too that I started training at the Belltime Club under Jason Rumble and Bo Douglas. And if it wasn't for them, and this is a shoot, as they say, there'd be no Ref Quinn. And
Yeah.
I left there and I went to the New England Pro Wrestling Academy, and I trained under Brian Fury, who was, and always will be my friend and my brother. And he did a great job helping me fix some stuff and straighten some stuff out. Now Chase Del Monte runs it, and I guess he's got to take care of the old man if I have problems and and stuff out. But they do a great job, and I know everybody that runs these other wrestling schools too. So there's no shortage of places to go with knowledge and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Let me ask, when you're you say, I mean, I know you say, oh, it's probably obvious, or it seems obvious when you're working the meet and greets, it's essentially crowd control, move the line along, don't linger. Here's your autograph, here's your picture, step aside. So obviously you have to have a grasp on what's going on with that in order to be good at it. Clearly you do a great job at it. If you've had other people say, get his contact info, bring him in.
Thank you.
So clearly, but I mean, I'm assuming obviously that's most of your duties with that. And when you do it, you're doing it you're strictly with one person, or you kind of jump around and control a few.
No. Typically, it's just usually with one person. Like the last meet and greet I did for NEW, I had Braun Strowman when I worked with him. Me and my fiance, actually, Lisa, we worked with him together. It was great. I took the money and took care of that stuff. The hardest part is to keep the line flowing. And you have to take into consideration two things, right? I shouldn't say we just got out of a pandemic, because I'm not sure if we are out of it, but you know what I mean by that. I'm talking like financially and stuff like that. So these people come to the show, they spend a lot of money to come to the show. They come to these meet and greets and some of these people are a little bit on the expensive side, you know what I mean? But it's a business, so that's how you have to look at it.
Right.
But I also try to look at it as these fans, they've waited their whole life, like to meet, like say Ric Flair, to meet Bret Hart, to people that I've had the luxury of working with. So for me to just hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. Get an autograph and push them along. Like there's a fine line, and it's hard to explain. To be honest with you, it's just a feel, if you will. Like I know, and I always have. How do I put this? I always have stuff set up with them if I need to push them along. I'll get an Iggy, if you will, and I'll know to whatever.
Yeah.
But usually it's me. I have to do it because let me tell you something. Matt and Jeff Hardy, they'll sit there and talk to you till the cows come home, and they know it, and they
Yeah.
know it's my job to push these guys along, and they'll say, "Brother Kev says you have to go, man. I'm sorry."
Yeah, they put the weight on you. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
right.
Yeah. Actually, that just triggered a story. If I could switch channels real quick.
Yeah.
This is a good one. I had the luxury and the honor of working with the late great Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. I got to work with him at Starcast, I believe, in Vegas when AEW had that big Starcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was cool, man. We were over in a corner, so it's just me and him talking. And you want to talk about a guy that's tall? Hold my head, man.
Yeah.
He's got I don't know how tall he is, but he's a lot taller than I am. So it's funny, all of a sudden he changes, he gets in the mode. He says, "Tonight, you're the bad guy and I'm the good guy." So because he knows that I have to push him along. And there was a very simple thing. Like if he just turned and looked at me like that, it was get these people along.
Next.
So at the end of the meet and greet, I was always taught by Bo Douglas never to ask for pictures with these guys, because it's just not what you do. I know that might be an old school trait, and I totally respect that. But I look at it now at my age and my tenure in this business. How much time do I have left? Probably not a lot, to be quite honest with you. So if I get the luxury to work with these people, you bet your bippy I ask them for a picture. So at the end of it,
Oh yeah.
so at the end of it, I say, "Hey, would you mind if I took a picture?" Oh, the one thing I forgot to say is during this meet and greet, there was a ladder standing. There was a ladder there because he's the one that created the ladder matches, right? So, well, one of them. So the ladder's sitting there. So he says, "You want to take the picture? You get up on the ladder." Guess who's scared to the heights?
Oh man.
This guy. So he gives me the belt. So I get up on the first rung. He goes, "No." So I get up on the second rung, and he goes, "It's a little bit different, right?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, one more. So I go to, and he goes, don't be a pussy. Come on now. So I do it. And he goes, life just changed, right, brother? And I go, yeah. He goes, look at how much more of that ladder you have.
Yep.
I just look up. I go, holy shit. He goes, picture yourself sitting at the top with your legs draped over it, holding up a championship belt, looking at all these people. Just picture that. He goes, one more run, brother. I go, I'm sorry, but that's not happening. He says, all right, Chico. All right, snap the photo, dude. Snap it. So, I mean, and oh my goodness, I got to work with the Four Horsemen.
Take it. Oh, yes, go on.
Go on.
Just triggering memories. So I got to work with the Four Horsemen, right? And they had the TBS set from the WCW days behind them.
That's awesome.
Yes. And my job was I got to hold the Ric Flair robe and the Ric Flair original title. And everybody
Wow.
picture tried on the robe and the title. So at the end of the meet and greet, Arn Anderson says, get your ass over here. So I got in there and I held the belt and I took a picture and I'm sitting here and I'm looking around. And like they're ready to snap a picture and I'm just looking around. And I think it was Wyndham said, what are we doing? And I said, no, give him a minute, let him soak it in. And I'm just like, God damn, man. He goes, it's the set, right? I go, yeah, man. This is like, it's just like so cool. I said, you better snap the picture before I start crying, you know? So
That's really cool.
Yeah. And I got a chance to talk to him. Wow. And then I got to work with him again. I got to work with him again at the New England Hall of Fame that Joe Bruin runs. It was in Warwick, Rhode Island. So we're waiting for the meet and greet to start now. I'm in a room with Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Barry Windham, and who else? Who am I missing? I think it was them. And they're
JJ
telling
Dillon?
Jesus, slap me in the head. Thank you. Yes. So they're telling stories about how Ric Flair had taken the diamonds out of the belt years ago. And he was put fake ones in. So that way, if anybody messed with the belt or stole the belt, that you wouldn't have to worry about it. So they told me one night the belt got stolen and everybody's all worried about the diamonds. And I guess Ric Flair had the other belt, which was the real stuff. Now I'm sitting here listening to this story and I'm listening to Arn Anderson say, I never heard that story before.
What?
And I'm sitting in this room and I'm just like, I can't believe I forgot JJ Dillon. I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna say because it's late.
Yeah.
But they are the coolest people, man. They really are. Barry Windham, man, he just shows up in his fishing t-shirt, his jeans, and his hat, and his boots, and
Did Arn Anderson have his Glock?
Always. You never. It's like American Express. You never leave home without it.
I wasn't gonna ask him.
He didn't want to see it.
I'm good. I am good, man. What a nice guy, man. They're just such cool dudes. Like they all are. Everybody I get to work with, they're all just super cool people. I'm a lucky guy. Won't go that way, the lighting. But everybody is, man. I've had a blessed career. If I never ref another match again, I'm a lucky guy. I mean, Sunday I got a little dilemma. We have Beyond Wrestling versus Wrestling Open. I don't know if you've been following Twitter, but there's a little situation going on there. Then I also have Chaotic Wrestling, and that's running on Sunday, who's down a ref. So it's a big weekend of we got to figure this one out. And Drew Cordero's messaging me, where are you going to be on Sunday? I'm like, oh, babe, I'll get back to you. Yeah. You know what's funny, man? You know where I get stressed out the most? Driving to a show. Just getting to a show.
Getting there on time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like Connecticut.
Yeah.
I'd say the Northeast does no favors for anybody.
No. And back in the day, me and Andy, that was like our big thing, is like we had, getting there on time. And we also trained there. It was a school and then we did shows on the weekends and stuff like that. So getting down there on time for training, like if we were late for training, we'd end up like having to do laps around the building and stuff. So it was just like if we knew we were going to be late to training, there was like times where we were like, oh man, we're going to be like 20 minutes late to training, let's just skip it. And then so that we pull off on the highway, we'd go get like some actual lunch, like sit down and like have a real meal, and then just go there by like 2:00, which was like the call time for the show.
Yep.
Or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I was late a few times, and Fury was the old squat guy, so you'd end up doing some squats, but you
Yep.
learn, you know. But again, you know, if you're driving, you know, the old lesson in wrestling is, you know, 2 hours early for a show, and if
Mhm.
it's 2 hours away, you leave 3 hours early, so you can, you know, because you never know what you're going to bump into. Plus, you know, you want to stop and you want to take breaks and you want to grab some stuff and have all your stuff with you so you can have everything. And you never know, you know, a lot of time you don't eat on show days, you know that. Like,
Yeah.
you just no time, you know.
Yeah, there's been plenty of times where we'd go almost the whole day without eating, and then it'd be like 11 at night, and we'd be on the way home, and we'd be like, well, now what's open? I guess we're gonna have to stop at a Roy Rogers at a rest stop now because everything else is closed because it's 1 a.m.
Yeah. Actually, you know, fun another. See, you just triggered another story. Cody Rhodes.
Roy Rogers.
Roy Rogers.
No, Cody Rhodes told me how to eat at a convenience store.
Okay.
You grab some beef jerky. You
Yeah.
grab some cheese. You grab some like a muscle milk, and you grab some water and some
You got a meal.
Gatorade. That's it. You know.
Yeah.
It was amazing, and the good thing is he left the apple beef jerky in the car after. He must have fell out of the bag. Home, I was taking my gear bag out. I go, well, all right. You
A
know,
little snack for Kevin.
like I said, man, I know it's getting late, but I mean, I could tell you stories all night.
Hey, well, I know we probably could go on all night too,
Yeah.
but it is getting a little late. But
Yeah.
listen,
we'll
man,
have
we
to
could
have a part
definitely do a
two.
part two. Yeah, if it's,
I'll
there you
tell
go, read
you
my
what,
mind,
You
man.
are so coming back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One more question.
All right, who's got one? I didn't have one ready.
I
I've just
know.
been enjoying these
I
What
know,
is your
stories.
I've been-
favorite match of all time?
There you go.
That I've ever ref.
No,
Yes,
that you've well,
Oh,
okay,
no,
that
all
you've
right.
ever refed and that you've ever
as a
watched.
fan, yeah.
As a fan.
My favorite match as a fan is that Undertaker Shawn Michaels steel cage match. That's probably my favorite match. But there's
Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
Great
debut
favorite,
of Kane, all
Great
that.
choice.
the
Awesome.
Oh
favorite
God,
match.
that's got to be Kane.
Yeah, yeah.
I love this guy.
Skylar is not only our historian, but he's also usually our sound effects guy too. So like,
Yeah,
we have a
definitely.
soundboard, we have Skylar.
My
We don't
my
need a soundboard.
my favorite match I've ever ref. If I'm gonna put a 1 and a 1A, and
Okay.
they kind of. My first one is always going to be Cody Rhodes and Kurt Angle. I don't think I'll ever top that. And my second one is Kenny Omega versus Ray Phoenix.
Right.
And we'll just add one more: the Young Bucks versus the Hardys.
Yeah, top three right there. There you go. There it
That's,
is.
I mean, I
Actually-
can't.
You
I-
actually
yeah,
named
I
them
don't
at
know
the
what-
beginning of the show, and we just came full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I'll tell you a quick story before we go, real quick. I
Yes.
did the Hardy. Excuse me. I did the Young Bucks versus Matt Hardy and Alberto Del Rio. Jeff Hardy, I'm not sure where he was, if he was injured or whatever. So we did the match, and I made a mistake. Okay, we'll just say that. So I made a mistake. So after the match, we go to the back and stuff. Alberto Del Rio takes his arm, puts it around my shoulders, takes me for a walk, walks me towards the shower area. This is as real as it gets. This actually has happened, and it's happening, and I'm like, oh, this is what's going on. And he says, you realize you made a mistake? I said, yes, I did, sir. And he said, you realize you can't make a mistake in those high profile matches? And I said, yes, sir, and I apologize. He taps me on the shoulder. He says, all right, thank you. Sounds good. He turns around and walks away, and I'm just standing there like by the shower, and I'm like, wow, what just happened?
Depending on your response, he might have given the old WWE slap that got him fired.
Well, I don't know. So he was, as soon as I apologized, though, changed.
Even keel, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe
But
might
and I think like
might
guys
have
like
to edit
that.
one out.
I think guys like that, I think at the end of the day, they're just really looking for respect. They want to know that not only do you respect them, but you respect the business. And if you show them that you do, and you can own up to your mistakes and you can work to fix them, they're not going to give you a hard time about it.
Exactly. Respect is what it's all about in this business. You don't have
Yep.
that with someone, you don't have anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude, this has been a blast.
This was
Absolutely,
awesome.
man.
Seriously, this
I hope it's been okay. I go off track and get crazy.
No, man,
This
this has
was
been great.
fantastic.
I think we got one of our favorite stories that we've gotten yet so far
Yes.
tonight.
Yes.
So thank you for that. But also, man, you've been great, man. You make our job easy, man. You got a lot of stories. That's awesome.
I feel like you don't have to listen to the three of our voices. You actually get interesting stories, interesting insight.
No, that's cool, man. No, I had a blast, man. And anytime you want to do it again, just let me know. And
Yeah, definitely.
absolutely, sounds good.
Hey, man. And just before we go, let everyone know where they can find you on social media, give you a follow, check in on
Yeah,
where
get your plugs in.
you'll be.
Sure, everything is at Ref Quinn. Everything is Ref Quinn. Yep, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. This weekend, actually, Saturday, I'll be at NEW in the Bethany Arena. If you want to go on northeastwrestling.com, they have a lot of summer shows coming up. A bunch of them are a couple of stadium shows. Those are a blast. We're at the Mid Hudson Civic Center. That's a blast. Chaotic Wrestling is Sunday and Beyond Wrestling. So we got to figure it out. I got DMs for both of them sitting there, so this ought to be interesting.
Oh, boy.
See if we
Bidding
can
war.
in half for the day.
Yeah,
But yeah, follow me on Twitter. I'm really trying to get my Twitter thing going because I'll be honest with you, I'm not that good at Twitter. I think it's because I'm older, but I'm figuring it out, and I'm finding in wrestling, Twitter is where it all happens.
When I was wrestling, I very much heavily use Twitter. I don't actually use it as much. As a matter of fact, I don't even think I can get into my account anymore for some reason. I got to like reset my password.
Really.
But yeah, when I was wrestling, I was very heavy on Twitter. I treated Twitter like almost like my gimmick. Like I would kind of like keep kayfabe on Twitter, so to speak. While meanwhile, like my Facebook was more like my personal thing with my friends. So yeah, you're right about that though. Twitter's definitely big on wrestling's definitely big on Twitter.
Yeah, so I'm trying to pick up some more followers and trying to get some stuff going on that.
Yeah, man.
Because we'll keep this train going as long as we can. If we have to, we'll cut back to one company depending on how the old body feels. But right now, we're going to keep on trucking.
Hey man,
Listen,
keep on doing it until the
keep
wheels
going.
fall off, man.
That's it.
But-
Yeah. So Ref Quinn on Twitter. Follow Kevin. Twitter, Instagram. Give him a follow. Follow us on Instagram right now. 6-Man Tag Podcast. We got a giveaway. We got an Edge Funko Pop we're trying to give away. Go to our Instagram. It's up there. Like the post,
All the
share it to
details
your
are on the
story.
post.
It's all there. Wins. People love free stuff.
Free stuff.
So keep it up. Yeah, follow us. YouTube. We're
$3.99.
getting that going. Free.
Come on,
free
follows
for me.
all the way around. Follows
Also
all
free. Also free if you want to check out some music, check out my page, the Paperweight Project. The logo kind of
sir.
looks like that. It's a little, on the hat. But check
We'll
it
put
out,
it-
Paperweight Project,
put
for
it-
some free music.
Everything on YouTube in the description. So click all your links below.
And follow
Um,
all of the 6-Man Tag
Yes.
podcasts.
YouTube, Instagram. We really got to get Twitter going, but I suck at Twitter.
You will
We'll have
figure
Kevin
it
teach
out.
us.
We'll get there. But yeah, follow us, email us now, 6mantagpodcast@gmail.com. Send us questions. One day we're going to read them all. Listen, this has been awesome. Thank you, Kevin. Listen, like I said, like I think all the guys said, made our job easy tonight. You just all the great stories, all the great just matches, everything unbelievable. We can't wait to have you back. But for Kevin, thanks again. For CJ, for Skylar, I'm Mike. Thanks everybody for listening and or watching, and we'll see you next time.
Adios.
Bye for now.
Party on.
awesome. Thank you. Take care, guys.